Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I haven't thought of a name for it yet, but it's a variation of a theme on the triple layer stamping card. With the triple layer stamping, what you have is where the 3 designer series paper bits here are, you start with that as plain Whisper White or Berry Vanilla, one on top of the other, and then you stamp your design over them, and then you layer them with the cardstock in between. But what I've done with this is I have taken one piece of designer series paper and cut that so that the picture is continuous. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this, but first of all I would like to just tell you about 3 things that will be happening as from 1st of November. First of all is that our beautiful new trimmer will be available to customers from 1st of November. Also starting 1st of November is the Christmas Time is Here suite. No doubt you've seen quite a lot of samples made by demonstrators on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, wherever. But there is some design series paper. There are 2 stamp sets. One is one large stamp, which is red rubber, and the other one is photopolymer. There are gold glitter enamel dots. There's a set of dies, there's some gold ribbon, and there's a beautiful bracelet. Now I bought everything but not the bracelet because I received something very similar to that when I was on the incentive trip in Greece this year. But the pieces you can buy individually. You can choose which ones you want, which ones you don't want, or you can buy all as one big bundle. So that will be on offer as from 1st of November. And my very own special promotion is for everybody who places an order in my online Stampin' Up shop, as long as your order goes over £30, excluding the delivery charge, I am going to be sending you one of these as a little gift. And this is one of our superb little pop-up bins. Okay, it's let me just zoom you out a little bit so that you can get a better idea. Okay, nothing special about the inside, but it does have our logo with flowers on it. Ideal if you go out to card making classes, lessons, anything like that, and it just folds up like that with the strap that goes around it. Now these are not available for customers to buy, but I had a lot of flex points left over at the end of our Stampin' Up year, which was 30th of September, because I didn't make it for the next year's incentive trip. But with the flex points, you have to spend them or lose them by the 31st of October. So I decided that I would buy as many as I think I will need to be able to offer this to my customers who spend over £30 during November. So if you'd like to receive one of those, there will be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop in the box below, and it's really quite easy for you because you could get the trimmer, which is absolutely superb, as you'll see in the video, or you can get the Christmas Time suite as well. So let me start. I am going to tell you the card pieces that I'm using, but before I do, let me show you the other 2 cards I made. This is the first one that I did using one of the other designs. This is the one that's got the animals on it, and I added glitter to it. So that was the first one. My second one, this was my second one, that's right. And then my third one, I had to go to see what it was like. Could it work with Feels Like Frost design series paper, and I thought that turned out really well as well. So once you get the idea, you can use any designer series paper you want. This is my favourite one. The changes I'm going to make for the card that I'm going to make now is I am going to use garden green cardstock, but I'm going to use real red designer series paper. Okay, I think it's going to work. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But it is a bit of an experiment. I feel that if I do it here, and it's an idea that you might have, at least you can see what it will look like before you spend your time and your stash on something that you may think, don't really like that. Okay, so let's get started. Also, I am going to give centimetres, but I can only take them so far because I get lost. And I can take you as far as the first piece of designer series paper. I'm not too confident about my measurements there. I will have another go at doing it, but what I suggest is if I do manage to do it, that you try it on scrap paper first, just in case I'm out, because as you know, I'm not a centimetre person. But I will do my best for you. Right, let me pull you back in again because the outside of everything is looking a bit tatty. Right, there we go. And if you do, oh no, I can say this is the HOSTESS number that you need to use if you place an order in October, and there will be a new number for November. So if you include that when you post your order, you'll also get some free product at the end of November, or at least at the beginning of December. So it's win-win-win. All right? Right, okay, let's get started. Right, cardstock. Garden green card base is 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres, scored and folded at 10.5. And then you need a piece of whichever design series paper you're going to be using, and that should measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 9.8 by 14 centimetres. And then you need 2 pieces of garden green cardstock. The first one to measure 3 1/8 inches by 4 3/4 inches, which is 7.9 by 12 centimetres. Then another piece which measures 2 1/8 inches by 3 3/4 inches, which is 5.4 by 9.5 centimetres. All of these measurements will be in the box below for you. Right, you need a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside of the card, and that should measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 9.8 by 14 centimetres. And then you will need a piece of Very Vanilla for the sentiment, this one here. And also what I've done with mine is I stamped the sentiment, and then I cut off the outside edge, the Very Vanilla outside edge, and then I die cut one in the real red cardstock and layered it on top of each other. You may not want to do that, but I will show you what it looks like sitting it on there before it gets die cut. Okay, so scraps for that as well. And also for the inside, what I've done here is I found a little bit on my paper, and I just took one of my layering circle dies to die cut it, and I've done that with a stitched shape circle underneath. And on this one I'm planning to use the children there with the snowman. Okay, but you can choose any of the bits on there. I'm choosing that one because it's right close to the bottom and I won't lose too much. I could have chosen that one actually, thinking about it, but I'll see when it comes to cutting it out. Okay, so what we need to do is, now this is really the only work that's involved in doing this card, and I'm going to use my beautiful new trimmer. And what I have done, in my last video I did recommend that if you travel with your trimmer, to use a piece of washi tape just to hold those in place, because as you move and they slide down, they come this far down to where you actually change replace your blade, they can fall out, or at least one side comes out and then another bit of movement and it can tip it right out. So I recommend you do that. I'm using this today because I need to keep tipping up my trimmer so that I can see that I'm actually lining up properly. Otherwise it means leaning my head right over, and I don't want to do that. So that's why my washi tape is there. Right, okay, so on this one here, what you need to do is this side here, line it up at your 1/2 inch mark there, and then you need to line your cutting blade up at 1/2 inch. Now if you're metric, I can get you this far. This is that's 3 7/8 inch side, by the way, and for metric that's 9.8 centimeters. But where we are doing 1 inch, 1/2 inch, metric is 1.25 centimeters, and we are going to cut down to 5 inches, and for centimeters that is cutting down to 12 centimeters. Okay, so let me just pop that down and tip this up so that I can see it. It's a bit, whoops, go back. Right, that's it. And then bring that down to 5 inches. That's a little bit past, but don't worry. And then turn your piece of designer series paper 180 degrees and line it up at 1/2 inch and do exactly the same. Okay, so get your cutting blade at 1/2 inch. There we go. And then cut down to 5 inches or 12 centimeters. That's it. And then if you turn your designer series paper 90 degrees, so you've now got the horizontal across there, and you need to line your blade on this side here. You see you have a straight line indentation. Well, if you line that up with your cut mark there, making sure you've lined up at 1/2 inch there again. So if you line that up with your cut line, let me just double check that. No, it's way out. It's amazing what a really different view you get looking sideways. That's it. Okay, and then cut down to your next score line. And again, line it up with that line that you have on your cutter. Yeah, gone over again. But the thing is, when I put my green cardstock on this, it's going to cover up that little bit. It's only if you come way past that it would actually show. So turn your designer series paper again 180 degrees and repeat what you've just done. Okay, so you line your blade up with your cut line. Is that down? Didn't hear it click. Right, now come down to that cut line again. That one's a lot easier to see. Yep, okay, so that's fine. Now, mine very rarely ever just drop. Oh, my goodness. I was saying mine very rarely ever drops out, but there you go, it did. Okay, so you've got this first piece. Let me just give you an idea what this is going to be looking like. Okay, so that's going to be adhered onto there. And then with the first piece, then you're going to be popping that over there. which is bigger than this, which is why it covers up any errors you might make if you come a little way over. Alright, so the next one is with this, line it up at 1/2 inch again, and this is where I got lost with the centimetres. So and set your blade at 1/2 inch. And cut down to 4 inches. And the 4 inches for centimetres is, what did I find that to be? 12. Oh, I didn't write that one down, did I? I gave up after that. Yeah, no. So we're at 1/2 inch short here. So you've got to be 1.25 centimetres down, 1.25 centimetres in, and 1.25 centimetres up. Okay. Right, so turn it 180 degree, line up at 1/2 inch again, line your cutting blade up at 1/2 inch, and then come down to 4 inches. Right, now turn 90 degrees, line up at 1/2 inch. Now this time line up on your cutting blade with the cut line that you have there already. That's good. And then come down to the next cut line. I have already done one set of this just in case I mess up here. Right, so turn that 180 degrees again and do the same this side. Line up at 1/2 inch, cutter at where your line is, and your line should be equal to the 1/2 inch on the opposite side. That's good. Okay, so bring that down to that one. And that's not going to drop out because one is really very, very short. Okay, so just take your paper snips to cut that out. Oops, that one didn't come either. There we go. Okay, so I think that's finished with the trimmer. Where should we put that? Okay, so let me show you how this is working out now. To show you why I think this is going to work. What do we need next? The next green bit. That's it, cover up my cut marks. And then that one. Okay, so I think green and red works okay. Be interested to see what it looks like the other way round. Right, I'm going to use Tombow to do all my gluing. Oh, this is a new one, isn't it? I thought I'd get a new one ready. I wasn't planning on using it, but seeing as how this is the first one I've got hold of, I'm going with it. I've got my scrap of paper here. I'm going to blot this one off because it's coming out a bit thicker than I would like. That's it, that should be fine. Make sure you've got your card opening the right way, and make sure you've got your designer series paper up the right way as well. better. And don't forget that I have a Facebook group called JanB's Happy Crafting that I started so that you could share the cards that you make. It started because lots of people were sharing with me the cards that they'd made as a result of my videos, and there are just so many of them. They are all just too good not to share with others. And then once I decided that I was going to start a Facebook group, I decided that it's open to everybody, regardless of what products they use. So if you do the cards and you don't use Stampin' Up products, it doesn't matter. You can still share them, we still like to see them. Again, the link will be in the box below if you'd like to join. Alright, so this is the next one. I was tempted to work out the measurements if I put an extra layer between the green and the designer series paper, but I thought that means it would finish up with 9 layers on the front, and I thought that was a little bit overkill. You'll probably be pleased to know. Right, okay, so this is the top one. Oops. Let's hold that up to make sure it's alright. Yep, that's good. And then this last one. See how quick and easy this is? I haven't gone through all the designer series papers that we have. It was only this one and the Feels Like Frost. Right, so there's that. What we need to do is we're going to do some die cutting. Let me get the dies over first. These are called Christmas Cardinal, and they go with the stamp set called Tall Christmas. This is what I'm going to be using on here, and that's a die that I'll be using for it. I'm using the smallest circle to die cut a piece of this. Now, is that big enough for that one? Oh, I think I'll do the skaters on that. And then I'm going to layer that. Layering oval. No, layering circles, framelets. So I'm taking number 1, and number 1 is the smallest. I'm not using the scallop ones. I'm going to use the smallest circle of the stitched shaped framelets. So that's all I'm going to need. So first of all, I am going to stamp the sentiment, and am I going to do green or red? I think I'm going to do red. Right, let's do red. Where's my berry vanilla? In fact, because I've got to put it through the... Oh no, it means I've got to clean it as well, doesn't it? May your days be merry and bright. Yep, I think that's going to be fine. I think possibly green may make it stand out in a not very nice way. So that's going to be die cut. That's going to be die cut. That's going to be die cut, and so is that. Right, okay, I'm going to get the big shot over now. there. So I need that for that one. And let's do that the other way round. That wasn't very sensible, was it? Okay, let's do that onto the skaters. And then that one there. And have I got room for this as well? I will remember to show you what the sentiment looks like once it's die cut. Before I start, what am I doing? Before I fussy cut the edging of it. Really wasn't paying attention there, was I? Right, don't need that again. I do need that one again. There we go. It's alright, isn't it? So we don't need that again, don't need that, and just this. There's a right and wrong way, but it's not difficult to find. There we go. Not a good idea to have paper hanging over the side like that. Okay, you see how much white there is, buried vanilla around the edges there. So unless you cut that off, you can't layer it. I'm going to save that. Save that. Okay, so right. Now I just very carefully cut off. Oh no, I said I'd show you first, didn't I? Okay. So that's what it looks like if you just put that on by itself. Okay. So if you remember that, well, I just quickly cut the edge off, making sure that I leave the real red showing, but just getting rid of the excess berry vanilla. It's not difficult to cut out. If you're really not into fussy cutting, just give this bit a mess. One of the main reason why I didn't earn enough flex points this last year for the year that ended 30th of September 2019, why I didn't earn enough for the incentive trip to Maui next year, is because I had to take my foot off the pedal for to organise my wedding, which was a very happy thing to do, but I'm not Superwoman and I can't do everything, so it was the incentive trip that that went out of the window. But that's okay, at least I've been able to get a treat for my customers. There we go. Okay, so that's that with the bits cut off. Now if you want to see what that looks like, I mean, to me that looks better than having the white on it. But what I want to do is to adhere mine onto that. So I've got a little bit of green, a tiny bit of green, and then to put that on there like that. I think it just makes it pop that a little bit. So I'm definitely going for that. I like the idea. And that one. Right. Don't think there's too much there. I'll bring this up close in just a jiffy so you see what a tiny edging it does have. Okay. In fact, it might be easier if you've got the white at the background. Yes, you can see it a lot better like that. Okay. So I'm going to pop that on there. Yeah, I definitely like this, definitely. And yeah, I use dimensionals, which I have here. So I'm going to use, I think I did too big. Oh no, I didn't, did I? What did I do? Oh, that's right, I didn't want any on either end because I think they hang over. Oops, don't need that many. I just have one in the middle, stop it sinking. Now, of course, I'm asking myself, I wonder what it looks like if you have red cardstock with green designer series paper. Right, just pop this up. If you've got any bits that you particularly like here, just adjust where you're putting the, I don't think it really matters. There we go. So now just do the inside, then that's it, done. There we go, that's that. I'll pop this on the back. And there we go. So that's today's project. How quick and easy was that to get such a stunning effect? So I hope you like this. Hope you give it a try. Be interested to know which one that you do like best. Whether it's one of these or whether it's the Feels Like Frost. But do have a look at your designer series papers. I'm sure there's loads of different things that you could use. As I say, I only looked at these two because they're just so pictures. I mean, with the non-Christmas ones, things like Magnolia Lane and the Bird Ballad, imagine there's nice sheets in there that would work. I'll have to check that out later. Anyway, there we go. That's out. I just want to show you one other card that I've made using this designer series paper, and that was that one there. I cased a card that had been made by a lady called Nance Verb, who's a demonstrator in the US. So many thanks for the inspiration on that one. Really lovely. Pleased with that. But since I started playing with this designer series paper, I haven't been able to stop, so I hope you like it too. If you have any questions or any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. You have to be watching the video on YouTube to have access to the box. And in the box below will be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop, a link for the JanB's Happy Crafting Facebook group. There'll also be all the products that I've used, the sizes of the cardstock, and details of where you cut in the inches. I will try and finish off the centimetres, but it will all be in the box below for you. Finally, if you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified up each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down there in the right hand corner, and then click on the bell which says that you'll want to get the email notifications when I upload. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.